Aujourd'hui, à Éclair de génie, nous recevons M. Ray Kazemi, président de l'entreprise Stucture Breton ou Breton Steel située à Montréal. Vu que M. Kazemi ne parle que le perse et l'anglais et que la majorité de ses communications sont en anglais, l'entrevue se passera donc en anglais. M. Kazemi avait des sujets très intéressants. Une des raisons pourquoi son entrevue s'étalera sur 2 épisodes podcast d'une trentaine de minutes. La transcription en français de cette première partie vous est disponible en nous communiquant par courriel à info@éclairdegenie.ca ou par notre site internet à www.éclairdegenie.ca. This interview is a tribute for Mr. Marco Breton, son of the founder, who deceased in 2018. He joined the company in 1988 and brought the sales to an international level. He is one of the main reasons why Breton Steel has a beautiful reputation. Today, Mr. Alessio De Cesaris has taken over the reins of the Vice President's sales position to ensure the business sustainability since 2016. We wish him great success in his career with Breton Steel.
You need to have hope in business. You cannot live without hope. You need to have hope, you need to have visions, and you need to spend time and effort and money when the time comes.
Ici Thérèse Témélis, experte en recrutement d'ingénieurs et de management pour les industries manufacturières et des technologies chez Deven International. Breton, and you're incorporated. Are you one of the owners?
Yes.
Yes. So you have shares in this company.
I'm a major shareholder. Yeah.
Okay. So you bought the company?
Well, no. I joined Breton Steel 1999. Mm-hmm. And my first position in the company was field engineer. So it was like a lowest part of the project management position. I was working with the project managers, going to the job site and monitoring the construction site. I was a recent graduate from engineering, and I had previously 2 other jobs in engineering environment before I joined this team. After a few months, I was able to promote to project management position. So I was handling the project myself. By 2003, I was offered partnership. So by 2002, I was controlling the project management department, and then 2003, my partner Marco, who passed away, he offered me the partnership, and then we became a partner in 2005, and he was doing sales and I was doing the operation. So what happened was during those few years, since I started from very basic in the company, I was able to understand how the operation works and how we can make it better. So things was rolling, but we had a lot of ways of improvement. And one thing that it came to our attention was sometimes a company has too many departments. It creates too many different way of thinking or doing.
Different culture in different departments.
Yeah. So the way that the company was set up, we had the department of production, we had the department of sales, we had department of drafting, department of project management, department of purchase. Everybody has their own department, and every department was run with a director. And then there was a lot of conflict between the directors and pushing back, it's your part, it's my part, and this and that. So when I was offered the partnership, I knew that is one of our big issues. So what I suggested, I said, we combine all these departments to one department of operation, and we're going to have a department of sales. You take care of sales, I take care of operations, we run. We had to make a very hard decision at the time. We had to let go a few individuals that they were running these departments, and they had some strong opinion about the way that they were doing things. And then we started from the scratch. So the first challenge came in that we had to combine all these departments as one unit. So we become a company that it's a goal-oriented company. We established the objective for the whole team, and everybody is focusing to go on the same path, all at the same speed to get there.
Together, yeah.
Whereas, with a different department is a different setup. I'm not saying it's impossible or it's not, but for the size of the company, we were better off to do it this way than the other way. So we started off that way. So of course, for a few years, we had to work really hard to get everything managed and running smoothly. Then we start learning as well too. We start ourselves to learn how to manage and run a company. So I believe that, as individuals that you're running a company, you have to go also continuously educate yourself. You have to understand the changes throughout the time and the different way of managing, dealing, treating, making relationship with everybody. So I remember that, as those courses was offered, one of these courses that we took was about management courses. There was a topic that came out and the instructor was asking the questions. So why you guys are in business? So all these business owners that they're sitting, question comes up and says, why you guys are in business? I hope everybody, with no exception, says, well, to make money. And the guy said, no, that's the wrong answer. You guys are in business to provide a service. And that should be your main goal and your main objective. Exactly. Making money is like a blood inside your body. You need to live. Innovating, stopping, promoting, and stopping, then it's going to start going down. So you can bring everything to wherever that you see. But if you don't continue going up, then you're going to lose all of it. Because what happened is it won't be hard for others to get where you are if you stop. If you continue going, then it's hard to catch up. If you go 200 kilometers an hour and you stop at Kingston, I'm going to get to you, even with a bike. But if you keep going, then I have a hard time to catch up. That's a part that we have to look at. But I can tell you one story about us. 2007, 2008, 2009, we had the biggest recession. Start by 2007 when those banks, they went bankrupt. And we were like 100% US. It was a shocking moment because things was happening overnight. The Lehman Brothers, the bank, they went bankrupt overnight. And next day, we just lost one of the biggest jobs that we had in the backlog because it was financed by Lehman Brothers. So you go through this tough time, but you have a way of looking at it and doing something with it. So what we did, it was a time that everybody was so frustrated. Everybody was so hard to get jobs. It was so hard to compete with the prices and all that stuff. There's a couple of things we did. First, we said, we're going to take jobs at loss even to keep our people. Because one thing for sure is that we don't want our people feel they have a seasonal job here. You come to Breton, you have a job for life if you want. So that is the first thing. Because if we don't support them now, then there's no relationship. If you want to think about owners and say, okay, we were better off, two partners, to close the door and come back 2 years later. You know what I mean? But there's two things could happen. One, we couldn't assemble this dream team again because the dream team would gone. Or people feel, okay, you know what? When the time gets tough, they take the shortcut. They take the easy part. They let us go. So we took Burlington Airport Extension in Vermont, the whole parking garage at loss. I really like losing, we financed the project ourselves to just get enough work for guys to continue working. The second thing we did the biggest investment of bringing highest technology, highest machineries in our shop because it was quiet. So it's a time to do whatever you want to do to set up for the future. You need to have hope in business. You cannot live without hope. You need to have hope. You need to have visions. And you need to spend time and effort and money when the time comes. So we went and we bought $2 million of machineries in the middle of recession that everybody was closing up. Yeah. And we brought it up and installed it. And we get it to the finest production. 2009, when the things comes back, we were ready. Okay, somebody could say you guys were lucky. Somebody could say, no, we watched the history of what things happens. Every 7 years, we have some downtime, and then that was the worst one. But it gives us a perfect opportunity because we bought that machine the least amount of anybody possibly can do because they wanted to sell their product. Nobody wants to buy it at that time. But, we were the customers. They said, listen, we'll do that at cost for you guys, for example. So it's the best time because now you're investing at the lowest price because people, they always want to invest when the time is good. But when the time is good, you're busy. Everything is higher prices. Everything is super expensive. And it's not the right time because you're slowing the machine that has to be oiled and fine-tuned before this peak happens. So the timing is important. So I can tell you, it didn't happen to us this time here because we keep working and we're busy until next year, whatever. But if it would be a downtime, we would take another extra measures of reinventing another wheel to do a real production. I can tell you, we started collecting our production efficiencies since 2005. And I have all the record that you can see it. We brought our efficiency in our shop from 75% to 98% efficiency. So we were off by 2% in our shop. So what you do is you start implementing, we didn't talk about this, how you do the manufacturing and how you get to the efficiency. We talk about quality, I guess, but we never talk about that. So the whole story that we did from, 2005, 2008, we brought the machineries, we set up the shop, how we maneuver our steel, how we're going to produce it in the most efficient way, how we monitor our targets versus what actual we're doing. Like we need to go back and forth. Okay, we did this much, we should have done that much. Where's the problem? So then, as I told you, if you break the system or break the line in 20 different, then you know which part has to be done at what time or what magnitude. And then you can focus it if it's not happening. That you could be master for less than 2 seconds because the next second, somebody with something that knows better than you. Mm-hmm. And you have find a way to close all the doors and you're not receiving these messages that things are changing. And that's a part that it hurts the company. It's not the purpose of living. Purpose of living is something else. So purpose of business is something else. And that is a service. When you focus on service, then you align yourself and you don't cut the corners. You bring the best product with the best service to someone and you make that someone to become your client forever. That's where you have to focus. So it was really hard to understand, digest, and make it work because, it's always nice to hear things. But when they come in the actual life and how you're going to implement this, how I'm going to make this work, then there's a long way to go. One thing in business life is I keep telling everyone, I said, don't expect result in a short term. You make investments and you monitor your investments and you keep investing. And then after so many years, you're going to start seeing the result. And that's what happened to us. We've been doing this for more than 20 years. Like I was involved. The company's been around for 30 years. I can tell you, like after all these changes that we implement, we did not see any result day after.
No, of course not.
Or a year after. We were just noticing something is changing along the way, but we were focusing so much on the process, not on the result, that the result was coming on its own. So somebody asks and says, okay, what is the success? Where is the path of success? How we can get there? And the answer we can give it to them is the path is so simple. It's not complicated.
No, you have to make it really simple.
But it's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's very simple path. You stand in front of a mountain and you see the top and then you say, I want to go there. It's very simple, but it's tough to go there.
Exactly.
And you need to have this motivation and courage not to give up along the way. You need to make steps and target points along the way, how I'm going to reach up there. And every point you keep looking at the top, but you watch where the steps you're taking. So business is exactly like that. When we came back to our business, we said, okay, we need to do something different to become different. So we need to establish something between us and our clients, between us and our suppliers, between us and our team, that it just brings this company to another level. So the relationship is important with all of this ones, because beside the fact that you can invest on the equipment and buy a high-tech CNC machines, drill lines, angle masters in our industry, your major investments are the people are really actually making these things go forward. And part of the problem that I've seen in the mid-sized companies is that the owner see himself as a center of everything.
Thank you.
And you can see by the language of when you're talking to them, it's too many I's, my company, my team, my project managers. And you see there's a distance between him and the team.
Yes.
He is above everyone.
Exactly.
Everybody is looking up and everybody is like sometimes afraid to express their opinion, to tell them that, there's a problem and we need changes.
And they depend on him.
So they become,
they depend on this person also to say, okay, well, what should I do now? What do you want? What do you want?
And it's a very vulnerable system too, because you're right. Everybody come to work and everybody is waiting for him to say something and then run after. And the day he doesn't come to work, that system fails because the whole system depends on one part. I call even your president, even the owner, you're a part of the system. You're not the whole system. Cannot be. So then the culture changes. So you become a team that you blend yourself in your team and you become, one of them. So you are taken as much as load that they are taking, even more, because you have to set examples. You have to tell them that this is the way to operate. This is the way to treat your client. This is the way to treat your suppliers. And then what happens is when you build this relationship with everybody, then everybody have a pleasure of working in this relationship.
Exactly.
Construction industry, unfortunately, was so unpleasant because everybody was trying to hit it low. So the time that we were working, we had some project in Quebec, some project in the US. And then we saw, okay, now there's no demand for our service. So is it something that we're missing here? Is it something that we have to shift ourselves to go some other places that they are really appreciating the service, or we should stay in the same game? Because you have to know which league you want to play. You cannot move from one to another. If you're Barcelona or Madrid, you have a league to play with that type of team that you're playing.
So it's kind of like being specialized. You have to specialize not only in your type of service, but also in the culture you will choose or the country.
Exactly.
So that's why you come to say the States was an opening door.
Well, the States, again, when you go to Boston, when you go to Vermont, maybe you go to New Hampshire, may not be exactly what you're looking for. If you're building Home Depots or Walmart or whatever is a square building, there's no challenge in terms of creating that, then, you're competing with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But if you become specialized on something, if you're in the middle of Manhattan and you had, 12-story existing building and you want to put up 18-story on top of it in the middle of Soho, this is a project. Yes. This is a project that put our name in a magazine of new constructions, and we still have the article about that. And that's where we are proud of, because we are doing something that not too many people want to do. So the competition becomes so small that people that they are touching those projects, they know what is that project and they're going to price it right and they're going to be ready for it. So this is becoming a market that you want to play. So it goes back to what I said about soccer games. If you're a top players, you want to be a good team, you have an audience that they're willing to pay 200 euros to come watch that game. But this is not the same audience that for other games that, they're want to pay 20 euros. You know what I mean? So you have to pick and choose what type of market you want to be in.
Okay.
And what kind of effort you want to put that. And what's the price to do this? So if we go back in time, we said, okay, what do we need to get there? Because we can't just dream about doing something. We need to have the right setup in order to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is you need to have internal audits. You have to watch what you're doing and how you're doing it. So you have to really go back in the shop floor and say, I'm producing 100 beams or I'm producing 100 columns, and then goes to the job site. I have 10 errors. I have 12 errors. The errors are from drafting, production, assembly, from welding, from the drill line. What are the errors? Why we have these errors? So we create a system for the quality control that we are spending quite a bit of money on the yearly basis with the quality team that we have. And we check every single piece, inspect every single one of them, and we put our label on it that this is inspected. And that became our signature. So we said, okay, you know what? We want to produce a high quality product. We don't want to have any errors. I can tell you, these days, our errors became less than 1%.
Wow.
It came to something that people, they don't even bother to tell us that there was some errors. They just go fix it and they just move on. And when we go ask them, they tell us, okay, yeah, there was something, don't worry about it. And our name became someone that when we deal with this company, they're going to be there on time and their stuff goes up fast. That's how translate in the industry. So when we get this reputation from other companies and say, oh, how's Breton, by the way? Oh, listen, these guys, they produce, things comes here, no errors, everything goes up. Then we say, okay, now this is the part that we have done internal. What can we do in terms of external? External is supporting your client. Who are your clients? Your clients are developers that they are putting up the buildings. They have to be motivated to do more buildings. So they need to have good contractors. They need to be efficient. They need to make money. So this has become the secondary mission because everybody feels like if somebody's doing a project, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take as much as I can, and I'm going to run to the next one. But who is the next one? Where are you going to get the next one? On the top of the chain, if those guys, they don't make money, there's no motivation for them to continue.
Exactly.
So you have to think about that you're part of this whole picture. So we started helping our client when they're actually developing their project. We get involved with them. We tell them the stuff that they need to know in advance to save money. So it's not costing us money. Just they save money because they use the right material. They use the right proper connections. We give them our expertise in advance. So for them to do their value engineering. And so they come with a project that is profitable for them. So that process, it makes us to become part of the team. Because in his mind I started a project from the scratch. Breton Steel was with me. They helped me back and forth to budget my project. They help me. They have my design team for the different things.
So you become connected one to each other.
Yeah. You have to see yourself as a part of the loop. You have to really become part of the loop. Because there are two big elements in your business. One is your suppliers. One is your clients. You have to respect both. You have to make sure both are making money. Because suppliers, if they do business with you and they always manage to make money with you, good service, good relationship, you pay them on time, you treat them fairly, they're always supporting you. Many, many times, if I had to, I pick up the phone and I talk to suppliers. They give me what we need to do that extra step to take the job. So you get that support because they look at long term. They look at, they say, well, we work with these guys for 1 year. Now there's one situation we need to help. Everybody helps. But if you keep calling your suppliers and you negotiate them on every single job and you squeeze them for the last drop, then there's nothing left.
Exactly.
And where's the motivation? Because when you lose, I can tell you that in business, when you lose money with someone, you don't like that someone.
No.
You don't like the name. You don't
want to work with them anymore.
And when you're doing it because you're forced to do it, you're not happy. You're just looking for a reason not to do it anymore. So you need that relationship with your suppliers. The same relationship with the client. Because client, when they look at you and they say, you know what? Yes, we pay a bit premium. We pay a little bit higher to these guys, but our life is so good with them. So what happened was, I remember, if I go back in time, there was a time that, one guy, very well-known guy, says like, you know your relationship is good when your client gives you the last look on his job. And we said, wow, that's great. We have to. But honestly, we come to a point that we say our relationship is super good because our client pays the premium to get us on board. He has a lower number, but he just doesn't want to give it to them. There's a couple of things he knows. Our number is a right number. And I told them, I said, listen, we don't cut the corners. We're not going to cut the corners because we just want to be the low bidder. We're going to give you whatever it's worth for the job that we're producing for you. If the quality control that we put in place and that benefits you has a cost, that cost should be part of the number that I'm giving you. So if somebody doesn't spend that money and give you a lower number, it's up to you. Take a chance, or you choose. You want to work with someone and gamble if you want, or you can work with us and we'll do this way. So going back to what I said, then we start working external. We work towards our clients. Okay, so what they need. That's a part that we start paying attention. Because what happened was we noticed that, when it comes to the architect design team, architect engineers, they are very vulnerable. They are at mercy of them and us because we ask the questions, they delay the answers, and then the job gets delayed and they don't really understand it. But, they are really, it's tough for them.
They have to be in touch directly for the project, what's going on, day to day, on the floor and everywhere to understand it. No?
Absolutely.
To grasp it. No?
So you're not at fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Your process goes from scratch, which is, contract drawings, to the shop drawings that actually goes in the shop that you saw, and you start producing. So that process has many different coordinations that has to be done, questions that you ask, there's uncertainties, there are some dimensions that you need. These is a communication that you have to do in this process. But that process always put the client in an exposure of delaying his job because he doesn't have a control on that. So we came up with a couple ways of, set up a conference call every week with the design team, go through the things, just to cut the corners. There's two ways to do this. Either you want to be part of the problem or you want to be part of the solution. So we said, okay, you know what? They have a problem. And if we tell them, okay, that's your problem, it's not my problem, then they say, okay, you know what? Imagine if there's a process and this process is tough and you help this process to become smooth. You help that this, and they notice that along the way that, okay, you know what? Every time that we feel like something was going in the wrong directions, these guys, they came in and steering back to the right direction. So how do you think about those guys? Imagine that you're fixing something at home. And then you bring some guys to fix something, your roof, for example. He goes up there and then you start, looking at your roof and then he gives you best service for the roof. And that's the way you come down and say, by the way, your air conditioning might be something wrong with it. You begin to love the guy, no?
Yeah.
So you said, you know what? Next time I have a problem with the roof or my friends or anybody, he's my guy.
Yeah.
He was fair. He did a great job for me. And also he took extra things for me to notify me that there is an issue. Whereas if the guy shows up, he doesn't have the right attitude. He gives you says he's going to show up today. He shows up tomorrow. He works 3 hours. He leaves. He comes back another 4 hours the next day. He gives all the money up front. He doesn't do anything. He gives you a very poor job at the end. So how do you feel about these two guys now? And where you want to be? You want to be in the second category? You want to be in the first category? Actually, this is where the business owners, they have to decide where they want to be. If they want to be part of the first group, there is some work to be done. That work is to create a vision and then change the culture to go towards that vision. When I say that, that means that you as a business owner, you say, this is what I want to do. But you're not going to be able to do it alone because everybody that's working with you, they have to share this vision with you. So they need to have this right culture. If you join, let's say, a class, and in this class, everybody is top student and everybody is doing great, you have no choice to become one.
Of course, obviously.
In order to stay there, you have no choice.
You have to do your homework.
If you go to a class that everybody don't care about the exams, everybody fails, even you're good students, you start to be getting rotten because you feel I'm the top guy anyway. So you have no target where to go. Companies, they are the same. Companies, either you have a top class or you don't have a top class. If you don't have a top class, why you don't have a top? Because you start separating yourself and the way you're thinking and your team. So you and your team, you're thinking differently. I'm thinking service. I'm thinking quality. I'm thinking customers. I'm thinking relationship. Our team is thinking, I want to come to work. If this guy gives me my answer, I'm going to do it. If it doesn't, I'm just going to delay his job. So your vision is separate. So what we did, and I don't know if this is the only way or there's other ways, but what we did, we started saying we need people that they are thinking like us. We need people that they become us. So we had PMs with 20 years experience, 30 years experience, high salaries, but then they had every single one of them because the companies that were thinking for me to be successful, I got to go get someone from next door or that company who does the same thing. I'm going to get his top guy and then he comes here and I'm going to become successful. But what he's missing here is that his top guy has a baggage, has a luggage to come with him. There's a 20 years, 30 years of dealing and working with different clients, and he has already established an attitude. So you bring that guy here and you're trying to make him believe what your vision is. This is a very tough thing to do. Most of these guys, they are over 50, 55 years old. They think that they have done, and they are. They're very respectful in the industry, that they know what they're doing, but not necessarily standing up for whatever you are going after. They say, listen, you want me to become your project manager? I'm going to become your project manager, but I'm going to negotiate this contract the way I used to negotiate for 20 years ago. And I'm not going to make a difference between this one and that one because of your relationship. I'm going to do my own way. So the difference is here. We had no other choice to do it. There were a generation that they were working here when I started. And then that generation, they retired, they changed jobs, whatever they do. So it was a choice of us to go back and do the same thing or come up with a new thing. And one thing good about a management change every 10 years, 20 years is this, that you are revolutionary. You are the one who comes with the changes. I know sometimes I tell people, I said, my time is over now. And they say, why? I said, because we were very effective 20 years ago. We were so good back then because we were fresh. We knew what to do and we came with ideas. And that's where the innovation comes. That's the new things comes and then give a new blood to the company and then make it go forward. After 20, 25 years, you become someone that you have experience, you know what you're doing, and you're in the comfort zone. And for you, it's like, okay, am I going to go through the big changes again? Or I already come up with a formula and this is the way I want to go. And sometimes you cannot even keep up with the changes. Like these days, with the new generation, with the phones, with the social media, with this, with that. So there is another new blood needs at some point to be absorbed and establish the new future with the experience of the old guys. This is very important. So what we did, we started attracting people and we said, okay, you know what? If we bring people that they are looking for jobs, they are fresh from the school, and we train them, they become part of us. They share what we are because you are really coming to start learning. And at that point, you learn what is given. And the good thing is you're going to start using your own style of doing it, but we all doing it in the same way. Like the vision is the same, but the style is different.
I mean, when it comes to the new generation with all the technology, because they're really into it, how did you find a way to adapt it to your, style of work, style of life? How did you perceive that they can integrate it to your life?
Ne manquez pas le prochain épisode de cette entrevue sur le site internet d'Éclair du Génie à www.éclairdegenie.ca. Vous pouvez obtenir la transcription en français de cette première partie en communiquant par courriel à info@éclairdegenie.ca ou par notre site internet à www.éclairdegenie.ca. Taven International est une firme de recrutement d'ingénieurs manufacturiers et des technologies. N'hésitez pas à nous communiquer pour plus d'informations par notre site internet www.taveninternational.com. Nous sommes là pour vous soutenir.